If you don't first show people abortion, their understanding of it will not be your understanding of it. They will not understand that abortion is something that takes the life of a defenseless child. I read a cover story on abortion in Harper's Magazine. It's been about 5 years now, but I'll tell you it's profound. And in this Harper's Magazine story, a journalist is invited to a Milwaukee area abortion clinic, and he goes there to write a hit piece on the pro-lifers that are praying outside the clinic. And while he's in that situation, for about 10 pages, he writes all these unbelievably critical things of the pro-lifers. But then something happens. Halfway through his time there, the doctor performing the abortion says, "Mr. Journalist, would you like to come see what the fuss is all about?" He goes into the clinic. She says, "Look, I just finished a 10-week abortion, which means an 8-week fetus. Why don't you go look and see? You'll see it's no big deal." He goes and looks, and in the tray, there is a severed hand and a severed foot, and it blows him away. And you know what he says? He says, "I was shocked by what I saw. I was surprised by my own sadness. I didn't want to be shocked by what I saw, but when I was, I realized that what shocked me is I felt like I was looking at a version of myself in that basin." What was happening here? Abortion ceased to be an abstraction for this pro-abortion journalist when he saw it. I think the question is not, are these pictures emotional? The question is, are they true? I'm privileged to work with a man with an organization called Justice for All, who is trying to go reach abortion-minded clients where they are. And David and his group is working to equip crisis pregnancy centers to have a presence on major university campuses throughout the United States. In fact, I want to tell you a story that highlights the kind of ministry, and I'll close with this. There was a man who came and talked to David. His name was Clint. And he said to David, "You know, I'm disturbed by your pictures. My girlfriend saw those pictures, and she hasn't stopped crying for 2 days." David said, "Tell me about it." He said, "Well, she had an abortion a year and a half ago. It wasn't my kid, it was the boyfriend before me. And when she saw your pictures, she cried and is still crying. And I really would like to know why you got to show these gross pictures. Can't you get your message out a better way? Can't you do better?" And David, in his winsome way, as only David can do, very lovingly looked at Clint and said, "Clint, I feel for you. It's got to be tough for her." He said, "You asked why we show these pictures? Have you ever heard the story of Emmett Till?" And Clint said no. So David told him about Emmett Till. Emmett Till was a 14-year-old African-American boy from Chicago who in the summer of 1954 took a trip down to Money, Mississippi to spend the summer with his cousins. And as 14-year-old boys are prone to do, he started bragging to his cousins about how many girlfriends he had. And he told his cousins, "You know what, guys? I not only have 2 girlfriends, both my girlfriends are white." Now in 1954, in Mississippi, that was not something you wanted to broadcast. And his cousins, upon hearing that, said, "We dare you to go up to that lady in the candy store and talk to her." He went up to the lady at the candy store, and he said, "Hi, babe." And 2 black men on the porch of that store said to Emmett, "You better get out of here, boy. They're going to kill you." And the next time anybody saw Emmett Till, he didn't look anything like what he had looked that day, because that night, the husband of the woman and the store owner came to his house where he was staying and at gunpoint took him out. And the next time anybody saw him, he looked absolutely grisly. The coroner was so shocked by what he saw, he sealed the coffin. And he shipped it back to Chicago for burial, shipped it back to Emmett's mother. And when it came time for the funeral, Emmett's mother said, "We're going to have an open casket." The news media said to her, "You can't do that. Do you realize the condition your boy is in? You can't do that." She said, "We're going to do it because I want the world to see what they did to my boy." A magazine by the name of Jet published the photo of Emmett Till's body, and that launched the civil rights movement in the United States. 2 days later, Clint came back and talked to David. And Clint said the following to David. He said, "You know, I was listening to a radio show where they were talking about your display because everybody's talking about it. It's in the newspapers, it's on the TV, it's on the radio. He said, I was listening to people blast you for showing these pictures, and I started to get angry and thinking, yeah, they're right. But then I pulled over. I couldn't drive any further, and it dawned on me why you're doing this. And he said to David, I now realize why you do this. You're just opening the casket on abortion. Men and women, I think there's three options before us today. One, we can have tough minds. That means we offend people. We go around, we're insensitive, we're rude, and we basically are obnoxious and proud. Two, we can have tender hearts. That's a good thing, but there's a danger. There's a danger that we will worry more about a woman seeing an abortion than actually having one. And our compassion can stop us from telling the truth in a compelling way. There's a third option, though. We can have tough minds and tender hearts. We need to be willing to be people that God uses who have tough minds and yet tender hearts. The pro-life movement cannot exist without you.